the start of our international events, where machines from all over the globe take to the war zone, and this is just one of those special events. It's our Commonwealth Carnage, where 8 machines from within the Commonwealth will be taken to the arena to see which country has the best bot. So let's head to the Battleboard and check it out. Which country in the Commonwealth has the ultimate machine? Is it England with Firestorm 2 who will be taking on Crustacean from South Africa? Is it the Scots and Megalodon who will be taking on the Zonk from Malta? Is it the Aussies and Bitey who will be taking on the Welsh and Freewave? Or is it Nexus from Northern Ireland who will be taking on Endgame from New Zealand, our current Series 3 runners-up? I don't know about you, but I'm looking forward to this international showdown. So without further ado, let the Commonwealth Carnage begin! Representing England, Firestorm 2, Flipper. A much stronger flipping arm than the previous version and a lot more effective too. The speed and drive is still the same, meaning it's just as nippy, but ground clearance is still an issue for the team, and this current build has been suffering from wheeling at the start, which causes ground clearance issues at the front, which is meant to have a 0-degree ground clearance. Representing South Africa, Crustacean, Crusher. Without a doubt, one of the most innovative weaponry designs the show has ever seen, with the crushing claws operating from the operator wearing special gloves that operate by them closing their hands, which in turn close the claws. The invertible design also makes flipping the machine almost completely pointless, but due to its high ground clearance, it's quite easy to do. And it's not all that easy to control either.
Roboteers, stand by.
Firestorm 2 with the front flipping arm and the 0-degree ground clearance when they're not wheeling. And Crustacean with the 2 crushing claws.
3, 2, 1. Activate.
The start of the Commonwealth Carnage, and already it seems like Crustacean's getting a hold of Firestorm 2 until they let go, and Firestorm 2 pushes out the pitch, and that was very fast! 10 seconds is all that took, and Firestorm 2 came out victorious. 1 push was all they needed to send Crustacean down the pit and out, and they've done just that. Crustacean crashed out very early after barely a fight, and it's Firestorm 2 heading on through to the Commonwealth Carnage second round. And very convincingly too, despite a small wheeling issue and a close call right at the start. Anyway, next up, Megalodon from Scotland and the Zonk from Malta. Representing Scotland, Megalodon Lifter. The vicious shark actually shocked us in his performance during the New Blood Championships, reaching the heat final before falling to the flywheel of Mutant Flayer. Wonder if they've managed to fully repair the machine for this competition. The giant flipping wedge may not have a lot of flipping power, but has enough to lift them off the floor and can even topple them over. However, despite that, the ground clearance is quite high, and the wheels are dangerously exposed. Representing Malta, the Zonk Spinner. Not many machines have gone through so many redesigns as our representative from Malta. The spinning drum will rip and tear through the opposition and leave them smoldering in the corner in their own smoke, and they've added a Shreemig to help get them back into the action. However, the team has mentioned that they think the machine is a bit too lightweight compared to most of the machines in the competition.
Roboteers, stand by.
Megalodon with their rear axe tail and the lifting spinning jaws have repaired themselves after a mutant flare did to them in the New Blood Championships, and the Zonk with their rear self-righting bars and that front spinning blade.
3, 2, 1. Activate.
Great to see a Maltese machine in Robot Wars, it really is. And to see how well they're being lifted up actually by Megalodon, but the wheels come off! The wheels been completely taken off right in seconds! Look at this! Megalodon lifts them up, but as they bring them down, off comes the tire, and then off comes the wheel, and that's going to seriously affect the drive of Megalodon. That's not going to help matters. They're flung away. They've also lost an eye. There's a armor panel missing as well. Off comes another tire, and into the oh great! Into the pit goes Megalodon, and then into the pit goes the Zonk. That is just brilliant. It was all happening in seconds. Oh, that is just fantastic. They're both in the pit, yes, but it's oh great, the other wheel's gone now. Great. But Megalodon fell into the pit first, actually drove into it. They're out, and it's the Zonk and Malta going through. And I actually just noticed just then that the top lid of Megalodon came off the front lifter. That's going to need repairing for when they come back. Anyway, next up, Bitey and Freewave. Representing Australia, Bitey Spinner. A vicious reptilian creature with two spinning red drums with a very low rear wedge running on four wheels capable of running upside down, and the eye stalk sticking out help the machine not stay stuck on its sides when flipped. The exposed wheels may prove to be an issue going forward, but the machine is also fairly quick, so getting at them isn't exactly going to be easy. Representing Wales, Freewave Flipper. One of the very few machines we've seen whose armor managed to stand up to the blade of High AF, though then again, they weren't exactly in the arena all that long. The CO2 Flipper still has a lot of power behind it, and it's shown just how powerful it can be, despite the limited success on Robot Wars. And speaking of, there's a limited CO2 supply.
Roboteers, stand by.
Bitey with the rear wedge and the front two spinning drums. And all veterans, Freewave with the very tough armor and the CO2 powered flipper.
3, 2, 1. Activate.
Truth be told, it's a real shame Freewave has never done much, never really succeeded, and they've thrown themselves up and over from their first flip of the weapon and are stuck on their weapon. Now Bitey comes in and helps them right themselves, but they're mistiming their flips, Freewave, and it's causing them problems. And they're up and over again. Can Freewave come back? I don't think they really can. And what's that on the floor? That looks like something. Is that part of the? I think it might be part of the wheel of Freewave. One of Freewave's wheels. Freewave stuck on their back, stuck against the spikes, and Bitey to gouge the sides of Freewave. I don't really think it's doing much, but Freewave suddenly not moving, and I fired the flip again at the wrong time, and they've turned themselves over now. That's brilliant. And up, hey! It's a powerful flip from Freewave, I'll give it that, but it has its problems, and Freewave experiencing all the problems. Stuff right onto the drum of Bitey. That's just another problem to add to the list. But Freewave, they're not moving. They're stuck on their weapon. They're stuck on the backside. Bitey being flung up by the floor spike. My words are getting tangled up with each other. And Bitey to throw Freewave onto the floor flipper. For some reason, we know the floor flipper is useless at this point. At times, I wonder why we even installed it in the first place. Freewave, however, about to go down the pit like so. And it's Freewave crashing out, such a shame. And it's Bitey going on through. And in a way, I'm not overly surprised with Bitey's victory, because in Battle of the YouTubers, they actually held their own against Firestorm. So, well done to Bitey, and that's a very, very good victory they have on their hands. And it's honestly quite a shame to see Freewave crash out this early. They haven't had a great run, have they, this series? Oh well, next up, Nexus and Endgame. Representing Northern Ireland, Nexus Flipper. Despite the level of success on Ant-Weight Anarchy, their heavyweight counterpart sadly hasn't had the same level, which is rather upsetting. It mimics its smaller version very well from its speed and drive to its CO2 flipper, but to me the flipper doesn't seem as effective as its Ant-Weight version, and there is a limited CO2 supply for it. But it is very low, so it's got that going for it at least. Representing New Zealand, Endgame Spinner! They've come runner-up in the main competition and are one of the favorites in this special event of the series. The drive is very strong and the blade spinning at 4,500 revs per minute seems a lot stronger than it was in the last two wars. However, the wheels are quite exposed and the reliability of the Shremek is quite suspect.
Robot ears, stand by.
Nexus with the CO2 powered flipper, and Endgame, our runners-up, with their lethal spinning blade, front plow, and self-righting mechanism.
3, 2, 1. Activate.
Now, on paper, I think Endgame could win, and they will if they do that. And I think Nexus has lost the wheel. A wheel is gone from Nexus. We'll see in a minute if they can get away from Endgame. They have. A wheel is gone. It's there on the floor, and Nexus are in trouble. And their weapons the weapons damage now. They've lost a part of the front wedge slip. And Endgame once again dominating and being a destructive menace like before. Oh, but they've been flipped over, and that's going to cause a major problem for Endgame because they have trouble with the self-righting mechanism, which I don't think is working. Look at this. A surprise flip from Nexus as it overturns Endgame, and I don't see the self-righting mechanism working. I don't think it's gone. I think Endgame is completely immobilized. And that is such a surprise. And one final flip, and it's Endgame crashing out at this stage. Well, I didn't see that coming, not in a million years. I thought they had this as they were on top at the start of the fight, but it's Endgame crashing out into the pit and Nexus with a very good lucky flip, sending them out and heading themselves on through to the next round. And they were on the verge of going home themselves, but again a lucky flip sends Endgame out of the Commonwealth Carnage, and it's Nexus and Northern Ireland going through to round 2. And this is how the second round of the Commonwealth Carnage looks, with the Maltese and the Zonk taking on the Aussies and Bitey. But first up, it's the English and Firestorm 2 taking on the Northern Irish and Nexus.
Robot ears, stand by.
Firestorm 2 with their front flipping arm, and Nexus with their CO2 flipper. Have they repaired what Endgame did to them? And I think this is going to be a case of who has the lower ground clearance.
3, 2, 1. Activate.
Also a bit of a rematch, if you think about it, from earlier. They fought in the Gold Rumble, and Nexus getting underneath and throwing over Firestorm 2, and Firestorm 2 right themselves. But Nexus quick on the attack and throwing them over, and almost have Firestorm 2 thrown out. But Firestorm 2 trying to push away, and Nexus pinning them against the wall, and there is a law against that, don't forget. You can't keep them pinned there. And Firestorm 2 seem stuck on the wall. They're free now thanks to Nexus. And Firestorm 2 to try and run away. And, well, Nexus not letting that happen and flipping them onto the wall again. And are they pinning Firestorm 2? And is Firestorm 2 okay? Nexus is throwing themselves up and over. Well, Nexus, that's not going to affect them, is it? Yeah, because they get self-rights. And that's no problem, but Firestorm 2, there's something wrong! Their flipping arm isn't working, it's not getting them away from the wall! I think they're immobilized!
Cease.
And cease is called! The judges agree with me! Firestorm 2 immobilized! Well, that's such an upset, and it's Nexus going on through. Well, 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 who saw that one coming? I'm quite surprised at that. Nexus going through, Firestorm 2 immobilized. They're out. Next up, the Zonk and Bitey.
Roboteers, stand by.
The Zonk, with their self-righting arm and their lethal spinning blade. And Bitey, with the rear wedge and their 2 rotating spinning drums.
3, 2, 1. Activate.
So, whatever happens in this, our final will be a spinner versus flipper, and right now it looks like Bitey's in charge! But look at that! Off comes one of those drums! There's the attack, and flung through the air as well! That is brilliant! But that's gonna be a problem for Bitey. They've lost half their weapon, now their entire weapon's gone! They have no weapon left! They're flung through the air again! Is everything okay with the Zonk? They don't seem to have a lot of control on the floor. Bitey pinning them against the wall, using the shrimp to try and get away, and Bitey driving away! But they're driving into the pit! Well, they probably thought they couldn't win this! Not without a weapon! Down the pit they go! It's the Zonk going through! I honestly have nothing else to say because I still don't get why Bitey threw themselves down the pit. I really don't. They seemed a lot more maneuverable than the Zonk in this fight. They could have controlled them, but instead they decided to commit suicide. Okay then, fine. I mean, it's not like you didn't have a rear tool you could have used, i.e. your wedge. But, fine. Throw yourself down the pit for like a... Do you. Bitey in Australia are out. The Zonk and Malta are through to the Commonwealth Carnage final showdown against Northern Ireland and Nexus. And can Nexus finally take home a trophy?
Roboteers, stand by.
This is it, the Commonwealth Carnage final showdown. Nexus with the CO2-powered flipper. Can they finally win something? And the Zonk with their rear self-righting mechanism and their front spinning blade.
3, 2, 1. Activate.
The Zonk have been a real surprise for me in this entire competition. They've done very well, been very destructive. Disabled Megalodon, disabled the weapon on Bitey, and Nexus pushing away, and I've already lost the majority of the lip of their flipper. They've only got one piece left, and I think that's just hanging on. Is there any way Nexus can get underneath, or are they going to continue taking smacks and whacks? I think it'll be smacks and whacks, really. And now Nexus underneath. Can they finally do something to the Zonk? No, they flip them up and over, but the self-righting mechanism helps them get back onto their wheels. Is the Zonk turning okay? I'm not sure! The flipper's gone! The entire flipper's gone from Nexus! Look at this! That attack! It sent the Zonk away over the flames, but their flipper is ripped clean off! Well, that's gonna seriously affect the weaponry! Is there anything Nexus can do now? Well, they can still push away, or at least they could have, until their wheel came off, and now spiraling into the pit! Look at this! Flung through the air! And landed with a crash, and then span into the pit. Not much you could do, really, with only one wheel. And now they're on fire, with the Zonk in the pit! Well, well, well. How about that? That's the most damage Nexus has ever taken. And it's the Zonk for Malta taking home the Commonwealth Carnage trophy. Well done! Pure mechanical destruction as Nexus gets torn apart and the Zonk and Malta take home the trophy as our Commonwealth Carnage champions. An absolutely incredible run from an absolutely incredible machine. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you next time. Farewell.